All right, guys. So today, much like before, we are spinning a wheel, selecting superpowers. We do have more people for this one. Last video was just me and Glitchtrap, but today we got Card Wizard, who was a returning guest from the first playthrough that was unfortunately not recorded. And then we have a newcomer, Green Bean, to the chat. If you want to see any of their comments to see how they are reacting and strategizing, you can go ahead and download IRIAM and drop in on the streams. That is God of Heroics. Or you can just stay here as I will be reading out all the comments. So if I seem like a bit of a schizo, it's because I'm talking to the IRIAM stream, and let's just have a little bit of fun. You can play this in the background for the sake of just having something to watch while you clean, eat, or cook, or whatever you're doing. And today we are basically spinning a wheel, selecting devil fruit powers, and whoever has the strongest powers at the end of this is considered the winner for each round. And first round will be decided much like the others, whoever has the strongest fruit power, but the second and third wheel, our powers do carry over. So now it is a sense of combination of who can actually pull the biggest power set or have the biggest scaling in this sense, with the three individual powers that we will be pulling. And first up, unfortunately, through our randomizer is me. So I will be setting the stage with my first roll of the day. And let's see what devil fruit power I get. And it landed on the dark fruit. The dark fruit is Blackbeard's fruit, I'm pretty sure. I say this, but I know for a fact, like we've done before, I'm gonna be like, oh, this is the fruit, and then it's gonna turn out to be completely not what I said it was. But this time I am actually correct. The dark fruit is a Logia type devil fruit, allowing its user, who was Blackbeard, to control darkness, create black holes, and absorb attacks. But uniquely, it makes the user feel more pain as it absorbs damage, while also granting the ability to nullify other devil fruit powers through touch. That is a pretty crazy pull for the first round, but hey, in the Jujutsu Kaisen video, I pulled Limitless, so is it really that crazy? All right, dark is my first pull, which means that next on the list right after me is Green Bean. So it's going to be me, Green Bean, Glitch, and Card. That is the order for today. Let's pull the dark fruit off the list. And thankfully, whoever made this list put everything in alphabetical order, so it's actually easy to find everything. Card says, oh, dang. Glitch says, do we really got that because we're stacking powers? Yeah, that's the good thing. We're going to be stacking the powers. This is good fruit pull, nullified by touch. Damn. Yeah, just hey, that's just don't touch me. That's just how it is. Don't touch me, don't let me touch you. All right, so now the dark fruit is off the list. Let's go ahead and spin for Green Bean's power. There are a lot of good ones on here, so me pulling that doesn't necessarily mean that you get something bad. What you got, Green Bean, is the poison fruit, which I believe is Magellan's fruit, if I remember correctly, because it's also called the venom fruit. Yep. The Doku no Mi, or the poison fruit, grants the user the ability to produce and control all types of poison. The upside here is that, the upside here is that, one, you control all poisons no matter what. The only downside I can really say is that because this isn't a Logia type fruit, your body doesn't turn into the element for the sake of basically nullifying damage. So let's go ahead and put poison. Boo. Yeah, that's two people right there that you literally can't touch with your physical body already. Alrighty, with me and Bean both pulling literally don't fucking touch me abilities, let's see what Glitchtrap is gonna pull. Spin. Oh, honestly, this is a solid pull for you. So you pulled the flower fruit, which is Nico Robin's ability. Unfortunately, that power does require you to touch people more than once. The Hana Hana no Mi is a pink flower-shaped fruit with a stem sprouting out of its top, swirling into the letter S. Okay, don't explain what the fruit looks like. Let's talk about the power set for the fruit, because I know that this fruit is actually freaking amazing. Boom, 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 boom. The fruit's major strengths, as demonstrated by Nico Robin, is the ability to sprout multiple body parts on almost any surface, including the user's body, and then manipulate said body parts remotely as if they are extensions of the user's own limbs. Since the user is practically the only one who knows where the limbs will sprout from, they almost always have the element of surprise on their side, which, coupled with the fruit's long distance abilities, almost instantaneously speed blitzing limbs are sprouting. So this turns Nico Robin into a massive threat during combat situations. Enemies may find themselves in an extremely compromising position if they do not possess enough speed or strength to counterattack or escape her myriad of summoned limbs. He says I have to touch people with my powers. Well, damn, I mean, unfortunate. Yeah, so here's the thing. The only way I can say that this is good for you is, yeah, it sucks that your power does require the limbs to sprout, meaning that they will be touching us if you use them to grab us. However, the upside here is that you don't have to touch us with your physical body, so only the limbs that you sprout will be taking damage, not you physically, which is pretty much the only upside to this. So as long as your body parts that you summon can withstand poison for even a couple seconds, you should be good. Everyone group hug except God of Heroics. Wait. Oh, quick astral projection. That's hilarious. Alrighty. Flower fruit is gonna be yoinked off the list now. Damn. These are some pretty good picks, to be honest. All right, and now card, it's time for your round 1 ability. Spin the wheel, and it lands on the book fruit. This one I'm actually not familiar with. This sounds like a side character's ability. Let's go ahead and see what this is. Book fruit. The book fruit is a paramecia type devil fruit that allows the user to manipulate books, making them a book human. This sounds filler. Hold on. Oh, card, what did you pull? What is this? This fruit grants the user the ability to control nearby books regardless of their size, allowing them to telekinetically move them around and use them as footholds. The biggest strength of this fruit is the ability to trap living things inside of a book's settings. This can be done in 2 ways. First, they hover an open book above the target, and then they will be placed under the visual illusion that they are within the book's world. Oh, this is like the Sing fruit, but for books. It says which will cease once the book is shut. Secondly, the user can physically trap targets inside of a book, turning them into an illustration within the book where they will not age. Wow. That's actually kind of OP. I have to be near a library to be powerful. You have to either be near a library or always carry like some really wacky book with you. That's really like one of the most out-of-pocket powers that is only OP if the right like power set is actually like, well, not the right power set, but if that right situation is occurring. So if you carry some crazy book with you, like if you're carrying like Alice in Wonderland on you, or if you're carrying like 1984, or Berserk would be a crazy book to pull. Just carry the Berserk anthology. My girlfriend actually has like the first volume of the the Berserk collection. So it's like this really big ass like hardback black book with the symbol on it. I don't remember the name of the symbol, but that one symbol that that Guts has where demons basically hunt him on a regular basis. It has that on the book, and it's like a solid like 10 volumes of Berserk, like right inside one big ass book. Yeah, you got to carry something terrible around. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and plug that in for card. The book fruit. All right. So this, I hate to glaze my power here, but I think my power is the only one that actually is good against everybody's power. Because at this point, the darkness fruit or the dark fruit would allow me to absorb all of your abilities. Well, if I touch you, I can absorb your ability. But aside from that, being able to create a black hole is probably way too OP. So I don't know, like unless card can open a book above me without me knowing, I think the dark fruit takes this. This is, yeah, card, you're a wizard and a natural bookworm. Oh, I see we have a new person in chat. Hello, Koki. We are actually doing something completely off of what we normally do here. Normally we do go through different franchises and look at heroes and everything encompassing those heroes, like other characters. We look at the world building, the power systems, and all that, and we do deep dives, analyze everything, and sometimes theorize. But today we're having a little bit of fun spinning this one-piece wheel, collecting devil fruit powers to see who is just out of pure luck stronger than the others. If you want in on this, I can add you to the list. If you want to, collect some powers and maybe flex on other people. But if not, that is fine. You can stay and watch. We will be getting into the topic of today's stream after we are done with our wheel game. Yeah, way he can create a black hole. Yeah, a black hole and a void. That was one of like the first things that I mentioned about the dark fruit. He can absorb, basically use like portals and absorb damage. He can create black holes, and then he can also like absorb people's powers and stuff. Absorbing powers does require like physical touch though, but everything else, yeah, like, I mean, yeah, if your attack is like something damaging, like Bean's poison fruit, I do feel the physical pain as I like absorb him or any of his poison, but I won't actually be dying. It's just like the pain is gonna be there. Yeah, chat, we're cooked. Can join. It sounds fun if you don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind. We can add you to this list. The list ain't going anywhere. Cheat. Let's go ahead and slap you in. And then we will go ahead and pull for your first devil fruit as well. I'll put you in under card, just so the order doesn't get funky or anything. Chi. 1, 2, 3. Whoop. Ooh, why did it do that? All right, screw it. We'll do it this way. 1, 2, 3. All right. And now that we all have our first power, well, the original 4, we're gonna add Chi in here. So that's the first. I didn't know something could make me dead. The rusty doorknob in a ditch. Yeah, sorry. That I mean, it's entirely possible now that Chi is in the game that Chi could pull something even crazier than the dark fruit, because this list is pretty extensive. So let's see what she gets. Ooh, actually, I don't know who wins here anymore. So, this is Kizaru's fruit, the glint fruit. And this is the one for the admiral who wears like all yellow. I'm pretty sure this is his fruit. The glint fruit. And let's just read over its abilities. The glint fruit, or the Pika no Mi, is a rare Logia devil fruit from One Piece that lets the user transform into, create, and control light, granting abilities like light speed movement, laser attacks, and light weapons. So, its power includes blinding flashes, piercing beams, and reflecting off surfaces for quick travel. Yeah, that's OP as hell. Gee, I don't understand what kind of crazy luck you have here. That's OP. The only thing I can probably say here is light does not escape black holes. And that is a proven fact. That's just how science works. Light and dark to cheat, please get God of Frogs for us. Nah, see, I'll even give you the chance for us to just look this up. Can light escape a black hole? And this is like literally the first thing that popped up when I even started typing this. No, light cannot escape a black hole once it's crossed the event horizon, a point of no return where gravity is so intense that the escape velocity exceeds the speed of light. Black holes bend light but don't consume it. That is true. They don't entirely consume light, but they do. They can go ahead and bend it at their will. So it seems like if I just keep up some black holes, or just keep up some pools of darkness here and there, I can change the trajectory of any of Chi's attacks. But that doesn't necessarily mean I win. That just means you gotta be a little tricky. So no, Hero's still cooking your ass. Yeah, but I can't lie. For a first pull, that is pretty fucking OP. Like, Glint's first pull beats literally everybody else. Like, if this was to be ranked, it would be me, then Glint, then I believe Card, because the book fruit is way more OP than it should be, and then it would be Bean and Glitch. Glitch, I think you came last place in this one, but that's fine because we still have more rounds to go. We still have round 2, so we can see whose round 2 pulls better than round 3, and then we do a full reset and we keep all of our powers from 1, 2, and 3 for our full reset. So let's go ahead. Hold on, let me go back because that was black hole information. Let's go back to One Piece related information. So let's go ahead and do round 2 after I pull Glint fruit off the list so that we're not double pulling anything. All right, spinning for my round 2. And I pulled, ooh, I almost got the slow fruit. I pulled the shadow fruit, which I believe is Gecko Moria's ability. Oh, by the way, the book fruit is actually not filler. That is one of Big Mom's children. All right, so the shadow fruit from One Piece is a paramecia type devil fruit that lets the user control shadows, turning themselves into turning them into tangible forms, stealing other people's shadows to possess their bodies, and even creating shadow clones, famously used by Gecko Moria to animate zombies and form his doppelman. Yeah, this is another top tier pull. Who is that? Gecko Moria. Well, I don't know. Were you asking about Gecko Moria or Big Mom? Bro got Shadow Clone Jutsu. It's much more OP than Shadow Clone Jutsu. This is being able to control shadows is much like Shikamaru in Naruto, manipulating shadows, and then stealing other people's shadows to possess their body. That's just possession. That's really just possession. And then creating shadow clones, which is literally clones out of shadows. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. This roll was for me, Bean, because this is round 2, so we're resetting. The order is it's me, then you, then it's Glitchtrap, Card, and Chi. So this power is going under my list. Shadow fruit. It's kind of crazy that round 1 and round 2 I pulled powers related to pure darkness. So yeah, this sucks. Okay, but this is your round 2. You might pull something great. You never know. You never know with these things. Because we do have some really top tier ones on here. I'm pretty sure this is like every devil fruit. There might be some that aren't on here. I don't know. Because I'm not familiar with every single devil fruit. It's not like I make a list from episode 1, but yeah, like there's a lot. Chad, he's evil. I'm not evil, I swear. I would be like Riku in Kingdom Hearts. I'm using my darkness for good, I swear. All right, we're gonna roll for Bean's second devil fruit power. And it's landing on... Oh, yeah, I kind of feel bad for you. I know I said you could get something top tier, but I apologize. You got the human fruit, which is the devil fruit that Chopper has, which gave him human abilities. So I called it. The human fruit is a zone type devil fruit, allowing its non-human user to transform into a human or human animal hybrid, granting human intelligence and speech, with famous users like Tony Chopper. And then there's other models. So there's his is model Reindeer, and then there's Sengoku, who has model Buddha, and Luffy, who has model Nika. Both of those are on this list, by the way. But unfortunately, you pulled the regular human fruit, which is the one Chopper has. I can make this a little bit better for you, but at the end of the day, it's not really going to be that crazy. So it's theorized that with the way Chopper has been using his human fruit, it doesn't just let him have human intelligence and being able to speak, but it also lets him utilize forms that are reminiscent of different races within One Piece. So he's able to transform his body to look like regular humans. He's able to have like bigger arms like the top heavy kind of people. He's able to turn into a giant, like the giant race, the Buccaneers and stuff like that. So I mean, at best, we can just say that the human fruit is going to allow you to shapeshift your body as long as you are within a human form. Maybe. Like, I'm willing to bend the rules a little bit and say that that's what that is. Because otherwise, it is kind of ass. I'm sorry. I'm a demon, so I guess that helps. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and pull human off the list. The regular human, not the other versions. And then we can go ahead and spin for Glitz Trap. Glitz Trap, you're up. Hopefully you get something good. Let me pull Sing. No, please don't. You pulled the Sala fruit model Axolotl? I don't even think I've seen this one. I've seen the regular Sala because it's a zone type that turns you into a salamander, but I've never seen the Axolotl version. Who has this? This actually might be good because this is a mythical. So it says the Sala fruit model Axolotl is a mythical zone devil fruit that lets the user transform into an axolotl or an axolotl hybrid, granting incredible regeneration and aquatic abilities, but its aquatic nature creates major drawbacks for a human user due to devil fruit users being weaker underwater. The fruit was famously consumed by Caesar Clown's friend, by his pet Smiley. Yeah, so this one might not be the greatest for you. But his pet Smiley, it says his unique abilities were regenerative powers, aquatic traits, to become a poisonous gas entity, and it allowed Smiley's and unfortunately his demise did reincarnate the fruit into like a nearby apple. But no other person has gotten it. But I mean, you have hyper regeneration at the very least. So there's that. I'm a regenerating lizard with flower powers. Yeah, but with your regeneration you can at least defeat you can probably take on Bean and his poison powers, because now you have hyper regeneration, so the poison's not going to be killing you. So there's that. Alrighty, let's pull that off the list. Now I wonder, is the regular Sala on here? Yeah, it is. The Sala original is here, which I don't think is better than the Axolotl one, only because the Axolotl one is a mythical. Hello, Dorothy. You keep coming back and forth. Alrighty, so now that that's off the list, we can go ahead and roll again for Card Wizard. Right now you have the book fruit, so let's see what you get on your second roll. No, my cat is not a lord of destruction. She is simply my cat who assists me in pretty much establishing how powers function in the universe. It's a little hard to say, you know, if they work the way I want them to, or if they will work the way that we want them to, considering that Dorothy does not speak English. But I believe in you. She specializes in isekai adventures, which is why I named her Dorothy, after Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. A little bit of lore that's actually not true. IRL, I named her after Dorothy from Black Clover, because Dorothy in Black Clover has dream magic, so she's always asleep. When Dorothy was growing up, she was always knocked out. She would eat and then immediately fall asleep, and then she would like wake up, poop, go back to sleep, get up, play for 2 seconds, go back to sleep. So I did name her after Dorothy from Black Clover, but within the lore of God of Heroics, Dorothy is named after Dorothy from Wizard of Oz, and she does oversee power systems in isekais. She seems to have a little bit of a favorite power, as she keeps giving people level up in video game abilities, and I'm gonna need you to stop doing that, because isekais are starting to stale, Dorothy. She doesn't care. She has a type and she wants to stick to it. Okay, Hiroshi name his cat Beerus. I'm not naming her Beerus. That would be funny though. But important, back to the game that we're doing. Card, you actually did pull a good one. You pulled the Op fruit, which is Trafalgar Law's devil fruit. And let's pull it up and go over all of your abilities. So the Op fruit is a powerful paramecia devil fruit in One Piece, granting its user Trafalgar Law the ability to create a spherical room where they can surgically manipulate anything and anyone, attacking as a free modification human. Its name basically is shortened for Operation Room. So I'm gonna actually open the One Piece wiki here, because they are going to give further information on the abilities. Sometimes they tell you everything within like the first on like the first page, but like this one, it's not giving that much information. So let's go ahead and look at the strengths and also the awakening. Apparently this fruit has an awakening. So it allows its user to remodel the world around them as if they were operating on it by conjuring a transparent blue spherical dome of sorts that is centered around the user. They gain total control over everything in its territory, from living beings, including themselves, to non-living objects, as put by Smoker. The ability's user is literally a surgeon within their own world. It says those caught inside are considered to be the patients on the quote-unquote operating table. Examples of ways that the user can surgically manipulate things within his room is swapping the location of 2 targets to teleport them, levitating, moving objects of any size around akin to telekinesis, scanning objects, slicing people and objects apart without actually injuring them, and reattaching those objects in any way they see fit, permanently taking out people's organs without hurting them, and transplanting their personalities, meaning you can also switch who people are. You can switch their bodies and minds pretty much. Creating electric shocks and energy constructs to destroy a person's body from the inside. So as long as the user's target is inside the room, they are within range of the user's technique, instantly reaching, where they can instantly reach them regardless of distance. So pretty much you're a god in this world. Like, you create your own little bubble. Anybody inside the bubble can be manipulated at the user's will. Pretty OP. So look, you did pull a good one. As far as the awakening, this is actually the first fruit on this list that is labeled as having an awakening. So once this fruit is awakened, the user gains the ability to create special rooms that adhere to directly foreign objects or living beings instead of surrounding a specific space. So anything that the user not requiring their presence within the room for their technique to be performed. So essentially the awakened version is just being able to utilize this power so long as you can reach your opponents, or as long as they're in your range, but you don't have to cast a room to do it. Pretty OP. He said I'll just Deadpool my ass through it. To be honest, yeah, this is actually an ability that I think would not counter glitch though. I'm gonna put it on your list real quick. So it seems like with this fruit, yeah, obviously you can like chop up people, maneuver them in ways, destroy them from the inside. This is probably the only thing that glitch would like thrive in, because if you're chopping him up, moving his body around or whatever, he can just spawn limbs anywhere, and that makes him more versatile because he has more range within the bubble. That'd be pretty cool if you guys were on teams and you'd be able to like manipulate shit like that. That'd be pretty crazy. But aside from that, that's very OP. I'm not fully caught up with One Piece, so I don't know how well the op fruit works against the dark fruit, because I do know that Law and Blackbeard have a fight. So I can't necessarily say from experience how well that works, but everything else, that is pretty crazy. All right, and then let's go ahead and pull the second ability for Chi. Let's remove op fruit and then go ahead and see what Chi gets. Pretty crazy first pull, Chi. Let's see if you can do it again. And spin. And you got, okay, the rumble fruit. Let's go ahead and see what this is and what kind of abilities you got from it. I think this is the trimmer fruit. I think they might have just mislabeled it, but let me see. Rumble fruit in One Piece. Oh no, this is actually far cooler. This is not the earthquake ability. This is, we pulled this one last time. This is Enel's power. Because I'm a villain, wizard, and you try to take me down. Last One Piece round, once a villain, always a villain. Hey, look, do what you got. Do what you can, man. I'm sure we're gonna find a way to take you out this time. Last time you pulled the craziest things. This time we got something better. So the rumble fruit. This is Chi's second ability. The holder of this Logia type can create, control, and transform into electricity, effectively becoming lightning incarnate. They can discharge varying amounts of electricity from their body to manipulate as they please, including regulating the volts to 200 million volts, being the maximum output that we see in the show. Yes, Dorothy. No, we're not talking about isekais. We're talking about One Piece. Oh, so you want to leave now that we're not talking about isekais? Okay. Yeah, light power again. Yeah, first you got light, and now you have lightning. Let's go, Dorothy. Hold on. I'll be right back. Go ahead. Go food, go eat, and then you can come back. Alrighty. Wait, I got something. Wizard clock put me in a D&D book. No, I cast Insane Luck and then Fireball. No, you do not get to go to D&D. No, absolutely not. But yeah, so that's another insane pull. It's crazy that both of your powers are pretty light based, and then both of mine are dark based. It's like the One Piece wheel is just turning us into rivals. I like this. I put lightning. It literally is called the rumble fruit. I mean, it's the same thing, I guess, but I mean, I'm trying to put the actual name of the fruits that we get, not some random nonsense. I'm a powerful side character. Yeah, to be fair, having both of now that I'm looking at it, both of your abilities are like reality manipulating kind of. Because you have the op fruit and then the book fruit, which are like your individual realms that you can manipulate. I didn't put it on here. Glitch, what was your second fruit? I think I forgot to actually put it on the list. Because you have the flower, and then you pulled something else, and I don't remember what that was. It was after Bean pulled the human fruit. Or did I skip you? I didn't skip you, right? As a historian, he emphasizes his studies into Irish mythologies. Yes, hero, we mostly definitely cursed. The hyper regeneration, the axolotl. Let me go ahead and put that on. Yeah, thank you, by the way, Celtic. So we are gonna get into that in a little bit. Axolotl. We wanted to do the wheel first, but I do like that you went ahead and jumped into the lesson for the day, or the discussion for today, rather. We are going to go over that, and that the idea, to explain just a little bit, the idea for today's title, if heroes are cursed, is mostly based on two things. One, it's I forget which show it was in, but there was a show I was watching where they said that being a hero was a lot harder than being a villain, because for heroes you have to keep winning over and over, but villains only have to win once. And that is very true, because villains, usually their plan is like a one shot thing, and the heroes, their idea is just to, defeat the villains and stop them, which means that they have to keep doing it over and over and over. Then the second thing that I got this idea from was this was the show that recently came out, which is based on a book, actually, Sentenced to be a Hero. It's essentially where, instead of getting like the death sentence or the death penalty or whatever, you have to be forced to be a hero, like go do dungeons, fight monsters and stuff like that. And like, yeah, when you think of it in that vein, it is kind of like a curse, essentially, where you are forced to continuously do heroic things over and over and over. But I don't know. We'll discuss it when we get there. For now, we are going to continue the one piece wheel that we've been doing. So for Celtic and our newcomer, Toki, we are spinning a wheel, collecting powers in One Piece, and seeing pretty much who stays the strongest or can become the strongest once we've pulled all three powers that we're collecting. Right now it's me, Glitch, Wizard, Chi, and Bean, and we have pulled some pretty interesting powers. And somehow, even though this is all randomized, our powers are constantly within like the same realm, kind of. Both of my powers are darkness based. Chi got two different light based abilities. Card has like kind of his own like manipulated spaces. Glitch can pretty much spawn like infinite limbs from any range and regenerate. And then Bean can control poison and manipulate his size pretty much at will. So we're gonna see if the third round continues this trend that we're going on, though I don't think we can, because I don't believe there's a third fruit for each and in each one of our abilities, but we'll see what we get. He says, but it counts on the villain. One villain is a bank robber, while the other is a world destroyer. Yeah, that does also count on the villain. But in that sense, that kind of makes me think of The Great Pretender. It's a really cool show on Netflix. If you like heist type shows, or you like kind of like heavy thinking, kind of like whimsical shows. If you like something like that one movie Bad Guys, or if you're like into Death Note or anything of that nature, I would recommend something like that. But essentially, The Great Pretender, they're con artists, and they're conning people out of millions of dollars. And there is a point when it comes to heist shows like this, or con artist shows or movies, where it's like, oh, we got to do this one big score, and if we make this one big score, we can quit. So in that sense, if it's like that, then yeah, it is one of those, the villain wins one time, they kind of win because they can make a shit ton of money, then just retire. But then the whole world domination thing is like, once they have it, they kind of have it. There are some times where like the world domination isn't the end all be all, or it's not what the villain thought it was, like Samurai Jack, where Aku rules the world, but then he kind of gets bored of it. And then there's always the option where after ruling the world, the villain still has, a chance of being taken down and defeated and everything being reverted. So it is on a case-by-case basis. He said, I can take everyone, I'll Deadpool through everything, but hero, questionably, I fear nothing. But that thing, black holes, it scares me. Yeah, that's pretty much the only thing in my bag that can really get you. Well, I mean, I guess the shadow stealing from the shadow fruit would be, something you wouldn't like. What I do remember from the Thriller Bark season in I was about to say Naruto, what the hell, fake fan, tourist. The Thriller Bark season in One Piece, when Moria steals people's shadows, if he still has their shadow by the time the sun is up, then that person essentially like dies and becomes a zombie. So then there's like no way to really return them back. So it's kind of it really depends on how the fight plays out. And then Celtic said, my ancestor, as we all have lineage papers, yep, ate something he wasn't supposed to in terms of what was considered unclean and unholy and died in battle. Oh no. That's I'm sorry. I mean, I get where you're going with that, but I'm like, what do I say to that? That's a crazy bit of lore to just like drop. That is insane. But in the religious sense, if it's like unclean in an unholy way, then in a sense he could have been considered like cursed or cast out by by the religious sorts, where they could just look at that and be like, oh, well, he went against our religious beliefs and he was punished by the gods for it, or something like that. I'm sure that's more or less how that would have been played, or how that would have been stated. Loot, thank you for joining. This is your first stream. I am the God of Heroics, and as the God of Heroics, we look at all characters labeled as heroes and everything around them being other characters, principles, world building, superpowers, and all that. And we do deep dives, analyze, and do discussions as well. Currently, we are going the more fun route, spinning a wheel of Devil Fruit powers from One Piece and seeing who can collect 3 rounds of the strongest powers. Right now it is me, Bean, Glitch, Card, and Chi. If you want in, I can put you in and spin to get you some powers as well. He says everyone should just hug me. I'll go teddy bear sized if needed. No thanks. But let's go back into it. This is round 3. This is going to be our final round for this poll before we get into the actual discussion of the day. So again, the order is me, Bean, Glitch, Card, and Chi. Let's go ahead and make our final spins. And my third and final power is the Dog Fruit Model Kitsune. I thought it was going to be something absolute garbage, but I think this is actually good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is, Dorothy. Let's see. Dog Fruit Model Kitsune. Let's pull up the abilities that this fruit gifts its wielders. Strengths and weaknesses. So the main strength of this fruit is that it allows its user to transform into a mythical kitsune, complete with 9 large foxtails. As such, they gain all the abilities of one, including the ability to disguise themselves as anyone they like, allowing them to impersonate them. The clothes of the target individual can also be imitated during said transformation. The fruit has no weaknesses aside from the standard devil fruit weaknesses, which would just be hockey and then sea stones and water, obviously. He said, pause, wait, never mind. Man got a cat, but the dog fruit. I know, right? I'm literally here with my cat and they give me a dog power. But it is what it is. I can't change it. I got all darkness powers and then I can turn into a kitsune. Not entirely certain how those things are related, but we're gonna roll with it. Kitsune. That is my third and final power for today's round. Let's go ahead and yoink that off the list so we no longer have to worry about that. And then we can roll for Bean's third and final power. And you got the scroll fruit? I'm gonna say it again and I'm probably gonna be wrong. This sounds filler as hell. Guys, what do I say every freaking stream? Every time, no matter what time I start recording, no matter what time I start streaming, they do some nonsense outside. Now they got the whole leaf blower out there at 1 p.m. That's crazy. No matter what time I do this. Even that day where I streamed super late from like 2 to 6, they still did this. Poison human scroll. Let's go ahead and see what the scroll fruit does. I really wish they did this earlier so that I wouldn't have to you know, be interrupted this way, but whatever. With this power, the user can manifest and telekinetically control scrolls. This better not be the book fruit, but for scrolls. These scrolls can change size at the user's will, being capable of growing big enough to dwarf people in size and extending long enough to wrap around people like Kaido. Okay, so this is not a filler power. This, like I said this is going to be a filler power, and then I was wrong. Including able to wrap around Kaido's extremely large dragon body. Scrolls can be summoned and unrolled almost instantaneously. But this is ass. You can just do that with rope, right? Like, why does it have to be a scroll? The scrolls possess the special ability of storing objects inside of them. There we go. Allowing them to intercept and capture any attacks performed by the user's opponent. Even energy attacks like Kaido's fire breath. On the user's command, the attack can be released from the scroll at any time, potentially allowing the user to turn their opponent's attacks directly against them. With the scroll being able to fully wrap around anyone, this gives them the opportunity to hit their opponent's body directly. It also appears as though the user can summon drawings from the scrolls and manifest them into lifelike objects. So, wow. Yeah, so this is like... Is this so a better version of mine, potentially? I mean, kind of. I'm just afraid there aren't any words. So this seems like, this is like, it feels like a mix between like the, what's that card? Magic Cylinder, but like, on top of that, you also get size Man Beast scrolls, because you can absorb and redirect any attacks from your opponents, but you can also turn any drawings that you make on the scrolls into like lifelike beings, which is actually pretty OP, because like if Bean just draws like Goku, I don't know if that gives like his drawing Goku powers though. Like I don't know how that works necessarily, like how accurate the drawings are to the actual thing that he's drawing, you know? Because I'm pretty sure if it was that accurate, then the guy who has this power, what's his name? Raizo? Yeah, Raizo. He used it to make like clones and other ninja stuff, but he could have just drawn Kaido and then he would have had Kaido fighting Kaido, but it probably doesn't scale that way. Can I draw God of Heroics? I'm good as fuck artist. That if it's allowed, you could draw me and then it would come out and have whatever abilities I have, which that would be pretty freaking insane. Let's go ahead and put that on your list. Scroll. It literally, every single one of y'all that have like reality warping kind of abilities is pretty terrifying to me. And why is it not allowing me to type anything? Oh, there it goes. It was typing nothing, then I decided to hit a bunch of gibberish and it goes ahead and types the gibberish. All right, anyway, scroll. That is going to be your third and final power. Fairly OP, very freaking OP. I don't think there's any, I mean, I could just be an asshole and just say, oh, black hole still beats this, but like, I don't know if the scroll can absorb the black hole, because that is considered an attack. So the scroll might be able to like absorb black holes. That might be a little too OP. And then you'd be able to use the black holes against me. Yeah, this power pretty much works for everybody that has any kind of energy-based abilities. Like Cheese Glint and the Rumble, my Dark. I don't think, well, maybe it might be able to stop my Shadow Fruit. Unless I steal your shadow, but that requires me to be able to touch your shadow. So, I mean, Chi, if you want to help me out and, you know, cast a light so big that his shadow stretches over to me, that'd be wonderful. I would love the assist. That'd be kind of cool. All right, but now with the scroll fruit on the list, we can go ahead and roll for our final two. Let me pull that off. Boom, boom. That is no longer on the wheel, so we are rolling with everything else, which is still a lot of powers, because there are a lot of powers on this list still. All right, so next is going to be the third and final power of Glitstrap. Boom. Since I'm neutral party, we'll see how well you feel about being neutral party when you get your last. Guys, we're fucked. Guys. We are so fucked. Glitchtrap just pulled the gum fruit. He pulled Luffy's fruit, guys. He's literally the main character. I'm sorry, guys. We were in our bag for so long until Glitz just decided to pull the main character's fruit at the very end. Oh no. Let me, against my better judgment, let me go ahead and just pull up what this fruit does. What's the gum fruit? Yeah, let's go ahead and answer that one for you. And let's be 100% honest. I'm not gonna treat you like crap on this one. Jesus Christ. The gum fruit in One Piece. So let's open this up. I'm gonna pull up the full wiki on this one because I'm gonna let you. We're gonna play this one fair, because when I pulled up the op fruit for Wizard, I did also read out his awakened abilities. So we're gonna do the same for you as well. So the fruit's major strength, as demonstrated by Luffy, is the user's body permanently adapts the properties of rubber. Their body can stretch, bend, bounce, inflate, and twist, much like the said substance, even when their power is nullified by way of submergence underwater. So, unlike most other devil fruits, the effects of the gum fruit are always active, making their user's body permanently rubbery. The user becomes nearly immune to blunt attacks, including bodily attacks, blunt weapons, bullets, and even cannonballs, all of which will simply bounce off their skin. Additionally, falls from great heights and heavy collisions that would kill a normal person end up being non-lethal and even painless, and certain traps and hazards are rendered ineffective because the user's enhanced flexibility. So let's go ahead and look at your awakening, because this is actually what makes him probably the most powerful character on this list. Once the fruit is awakened, the user undergoes a drastic transformation where their hair and clothes turn white and their hair resembles flames. Their eyebrows turn into swirls and they gain ringed patterns within their pupils, blah, 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 blah. Similar to Gears 3 and 4, the user can alter their physique without the need of inflating their bones or muscles. As Luffy can affect and transform his surroundings into rubber while in this form, even including elements like natural lightning. However, unique to this fruit is that its alteration abilities can extend to living things, as Luffy can influence flesh to become rubbery. So essentially, anything that he comes in contact with can become rubberized. So if I attack him with a black hole, he can just give some stupid cartoon effects and grab my black hole, stretch it into any shape, and smack the hell out of somebody else with it. And in the same vein, if he was to be attacked by Chi using lightning, he could just catch the lightning, throw it right back at you. He can turn the ground rubberized. He can rubberize light. He can punch you and make your body stretch in a rubbery way. He can grab you, spin you around, turn you into a belt, jump rope with you. He can transform and alter his body into a giant size if he wanted to. It's just OP. The big problem with this is that his devil fruit awakening does something that no other devil fruit on this list so far has been able to do. When he awakens with Gear 5, he automatically exudes high amounts of Conqueror's Haki. Haki is the only power system in One Piece that counters devil fruit abilities. It literally bypasses devil fruit abilities and just hits you as if you were a normal guy. Is it awakened? That depends, card. Do you want your devil fruit ability to be awakened? Because you have the op fruit, and the op fruit has an awakening that I read off for you, where you can essentially use your room powers without creating a room. So if you don't want awakenings to be available on this list, then you can't use your awakening either. It heavily nerfs Glitchtrap, which is great, but it also nerfs you as well. So I'm gonna leave that one up to y'all. If Glitch can have an awakening, he's objectively the strongest person on this list. Everyone awakened. Yeah, no, that's insane. I think cheese rumble fruit technically can have an awakening, because I know Anel turns his body into like a giant existent, like just lightning incarnate. But even still, like Gear 5 awakening for the Gum fruit would just nullify that, because hockey naturally nullifies all devil fruit abilities. So yeah, that's an OP pull. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the list. We can decide if we want him to have his awakening or not. To be honest, am I a god or am I a god? I was drinking, just waddle away. Yeah, like that's crazy. That's OP as hell. That's a crazy pull. I don't like this, but I'm being fair. I'm not gonna tell you that that's not what you pulled, because I'm actually recording this for the channel, so I can't tell you that you didn't get that. No other choice. Yeah. Okay, so Card, you are the only one left who has to pull a third fruit, and I'm gonna be so real right now. Looking at the list, at best we're fighting for second place at this point. Like at best we're just battling for second place. I don't mean to glaze the gum fruit, but it's really that crazy. All right, let's go ahead and roll to get you your third and final fruit, wizard. And you pulled the spring fruit, which I'm pretty sure is like the watered down version of the gum fruit. This is Bellamy's ability. Bellamy is that guy that was bouncing all over the city and then got one-shotted by Luffy. Also, Green Bean, thank you for the gift. I just saw that. Thank you. Let's go ahead and pull out the spring fruit so I can just in detail tell you what this does, so that we can understand that nobody's winning this matchup aside from Blitztrap pulling literally the craziest ass pull on his third round. All right, so the spring fruit. The major strength of this fruit is that it gives its user the ability to transform parts of their body into springs. By turning their legs into springs, they can launch themselves at high speeds, often moving too fast for opponents to see. The user is then able to launch themselves towards their opponent, suddenly allowing for great momentum. Due to the reactive force of bouncing off of solid surfaces, the user can break apart said surfaces. So bouncing around can actually destroy things. One weakness of this fruit's power lies within the self-propulsion. By turning their legs into springs, the user can only be propelled in a straight direction, making it easy for opponents to predict their trajectory and counterattack. So essentially you can just turn any of your body parts into springs. Thank you, Card, for the gift as well. Yeah, have a snack? Yeah, I'll go ahead and take the lollipop. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and put spring on your list. So if I had to, I put that on the wrong person. I put that on Chi. Oh, and my bad. Sorry for lying. Chi also has not pulled a third and final devil fruit, so I cannot officially rank this list until we get the final fruit for Chi. And so I went from Deadpool to the most powerful guy in the room in an instant. Yeah, that was a nasty pull. I'm gonna be so real. That came out of nowhere. Like, you were not in the top 3, and then suddenly you were like the strongest guy in the room. All right, let's go ahead and pull for Chi's third and final devil fruit, and then we can rank everybody and then go into today's discussion. And Chi's third and final fruit is the mochi fruit, which I know is not a filler fruit. Finally, I can say a fruit is not filler and not be wrong about it. But let's go ahead and pull up the mochi fruit. This is, what was his name? Katakuri? I think this is Katakuri's fruit. They are constantly just getting closer. I don't know why they keep doing this. Like, they really don't want me to record today. They don't want me to record. They don't want me to stream or nothing. I understand. I fully understand. Oh, and this fruit also has an awakened technique. So let's go look at that. So the user is given the ability. This is a Logia type fruit, by the way. So any attack that hits you, your body kind of just instantly reacts. The user is given the ability to create, control, and turn any part of their body into mochi, specifically a thick, extremely viscous and stretchy white-colored mochi paste that they can manipulate as they please. Um, and it also includes hardening itself into different shapes. So you can turn it into giant weapons like swords. You can make it into like a club or a mace or something like that. Um, the mochi, blah, 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 blah. Skip all that because that's talking about hockey. That's a whole nother conversation. We're not getting into hockey. Unique amongst the Paramecia class, this fruit allows this body to transform the user's body into mochi, and it also has the properties of a Logia fruit. Oh, that's interesting. I thought this was a Logia, but it's a Paramecia with Logia properties. Okay, cool. Thus, the user is basically invincible against any attack that does not include hockey. Interesting. As with all devil fruits, this one has the potential to awaken. So let's go ahead and look at the awakening for this fruit. It has awakened techniques, but not a full awakening. So you will have abilities that are awakened, but as a whole, it won't be like an awakened form kind of thing. This is a pretty strong fruit, though. It's probably the closest you can get to the gum fruit without actually having the gum fruit. So you get an attack that is called Flowing Mochi. Using his awakened power, Katakuri transforms the ground around him into mochi and uses it to capture his opponents from a faraway distance. And he used it to capture Luffy in their fight. Then the next awakened ability. No, I wish this list would let me do my thing instead of moving. It says, using the awakened powers, Katakuri transforms nearby walls and ceilings into mochi and can launch attacks from those capturing enemies as well. So it seems like pretty much the awakening just allows him to turn other objects and stuff like that into mochi and then launch attacks or capture his enemies, binding them and stuff like that, which would actually be in line with most of the fruit awakenings because it does allow them to turn surfaces that they touch into things that they can utilize with their specific abilities, like when Doflamingo was able to turn buildings into strings and stuff like that and manipulate them. So there you go. That's another fruit user on this list who actually has an awakening. So let's go ahead and drop that in for cheese list right now. So if I had to scale these in any reasonable way, unless Card, I'm leaning on you, bro. Unless you can put Glitch Trap in a book, Glitch is number one right now. So if you can trap him in a book, that would be great, and that would help everybody. Otherwise, we all get our asses whooped. So it's between you two, to be honest. Either Card or Glitch is number one, specifically because of that book fruit ability. And then with the op fruit, you do have the option to teleport the book around, and you could put it wherever you want. So you can teleport the book like right behind him or above him, which would pretty much cast him into the book instantly. So hopefully you can accomplish that and save the rest of us. It said, if they put me in a book, I'll exploit the book. Let's be honest. Yeah, you would probably find a way. I'm sure you would find a way. So out of you and Card, that's up to y'all. Whoever's number one out of y'all figure that one out. Then I suppose technically third would be me with the dark fruit, the shadow fruit, and the kitsune abilities, and that's only because chi and the light and lightning abilities, even with the mochi abilities, would still be able to be eaten and destroyed by darkness and the black hole. And then we would finally have Green Bean, who unfortunately just got a bunch of powers that basically made him a regular guy, aside from the scroll fruit. I mean, you have the human fruit, which is transformations, different human races and stuff like that within the One Piece verse. And then the poison fruit basically makes you untouchable, and you can spread your poison however and wherever you want. And the scroll fruit actually does have a lot of versatility here, where you would be able to absorb different attacks. So any of Chi's light can be absorbed. Most of my darkness attacks would be able to be absorbed, and then your own poison you could put in the scroll. You can wrap the scrolls around anybody and launch those attacks instantaneously. And I think the hardest thing to deal with here would be prepping that without card putting you in a bug. So I'm turning into a midget and walking away. Oh man. All right, that was pretty fun. I'm glad we actually did that again. I do like doing these wheels. I think that is probably going to be either how we start or end some of our streams, depending on the content that we're recording. I don't mind doing wheels for like different anime power systems and stuff. And it's not only just fun for us to look at the different abilities and grab them and just decide, oh, well, this is my power now, this is my power, and strategize how to use them, but it's also a great way to kind of educate us on what the abilities are and the different powers within different universes and stuff like that. Because even though we do, watch and enjoy our fair shares of anime and cartoons and movies and stuff like that, not everybody is fully aware of all the powers, especially with really, really long franchises like One Piece. There's tons of abilities within there because there's tons of characters, and it allows us to actually look at them and pretty much understand how every single one of these abilities works. And it's pretty cool. It doesn't require a lesson plan necessarily, but it also doesn't exclude us from being able to do deep dives into power systems. I think it's pretty fun.